Time to change the filter on a 1996 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo. Got my chicken. Got one of my cats. There's the transmission pan. Gonna take those bolts out. Take a 1/2 inch or a 13 millimeter socket to get those all loose and drained out. I'll explain a little more in a minute. For those of you who thought I was joking, there's my other cat. And, yep, there's the chicken. Animals love to get around when you're doing stuff. And as you can see, you'll loosen the bolts, typically on one side, and then you want to start loosening the others and have your drain pan under there. Of course, don't forget your chicken or your cat. Here you can see that I've taken all the bolts out except for one in this case. I have it draining off this one side. I'm not saying it's the right side, it's just the side I chose based on the way this 96 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo is sitting. This is a transmission filter replacement. Also, just a reminder, wear some clothes that don't matter. What's the point of throwing them in the washer and getting either your mother, wife, or girlfriend mad at you because you ruined their washer with all that transmission fluid that got on your clothes. So wear clothes that don't matter, gloves of course, and eyewear if necessary. Think about other people, not just yourself. Here's the transmission pan taken off the 96 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo. As you can see, there's a magnet in there that grabs all the excess stuff that seems to happen with automatic transmissions. You want to be sure after clean all this up, be sure to remember to put that magnet back in there, or you'll find you'll have problems later. Here we have a picture of the old filter taken out, and there's the new one still in the plastic. Obviously there's a big difference in the color appearance. By the way, it's always a good idea to check, make sure you got the right filter. Compare, that way you don't get any more upset than you might. There's the transmission with the filter out. You can see there's still fluid dripping. As I mentioned, you're going to get dirty no matter how you try not to, so use some clothes that don't really matter. I'll come back to this after I clean it up. As you can see, the new filter is installed. In this case, there's 3 bolts. And of course, Jeep has their own torque specifications, just like any other manufacturer. So you just work that out with yourself. Typically just hand tighten those up and then go from there. But you don't want to over tighten any of that. You break that and you're really going to have a bad day. Those 3 bolts there. So anyway, there's the new filter installed. Here we have the pan all cleaned up, the magnet back in its place, ready to go. In this case, this came with a filter, or excuse me, a gasket, one of these kind that's kind of already made there. I'm going to put that back in. Here's the ones that came with the gasket set, or the filter set, these 2 different gaskets. I had an experience with a car where I didn't put this particular one back in and it leaked, and I had to go through the whole thing all over again. So there's nothing wrong with this one. I cleaned it up. Gonna reuse it. And there you go. After you're done getting your pan back on, might be a good idea to spray your pan off and your exhaust. Just keep the burning down once you start everything up. I'm going to be adding the fluids next. But this is the end underneath. Of course, I'll come back and check, make sure there's not any leaks. Been adding the transmission fluid, ATF 4, for this 96 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo. I put 4 quarts in to start with because that's what looked like got drained out when I took the pan out. Based on that, I started with that. They usually recommend around 3 quarts. We'll see. As it turned out, it took 6 quarts of ATF plus 4. They recommend starting out with 3. I put 4 in there, and then ran it through all the gears with it running, and ended up putting another 2 quarts in it to reach level. Of course, everybody will have different circumstances depending on how well they clean, etc. You want to get a 1/2 inch as well as a 13 millimeter wrench and sockets, some sheets that don't matter. Don't get yourself in trouble with your mom, wife, and or girlfriend. And a drain pan. There you go, that's the end of it. My chicken and my cat went somewhere else.